Hello everyone, welcome back to another weather forecast video, and today we will be talking about the possibility for an impactful weather storm, bringing the possibility for snow, ice, and rain for a lot of areas in the south here. And I also wanted to quickly touch on the fact that we have red flag warnings, which were PDS red flag warnings at one point for the Los Angeles area and areas here in the Southern California areas, as we have very dry conditions and very gusty winds that have been coming through this region. And at one point overnight, we had winds gusting near hurricane strength for hours on end. And we do have fires currently ongoing in that area, which I will get to in a second. Bring it over here to all these shaded boxes. Areas in this purplish look have a winter weather advisory for the possibility of winter weather effects like snow for a lot of these areas. And then areas in the pink here have a winter storm warning where they think the highest amount of winter storm impacts will likely be over the next 2 days here going into this weekend. So that's a lot of areas going all the way up into Tennessee, and we have winter storm watches for lots of Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, and other areas where they also believe that come in the future there will be heavier winter storm impacts, so this will likely become winter storm warnings tomorrow, and we'll probably have winter storm watches spread all the way to the east coast here. So this will be a very impactful system. It'll bring snow all the way up to areas here in Canada, all the way down to areas in Texas, so we will have to monitor this system for potential significant impacts that could cause severe travel delays and disruptions. And speaking about those red flag warnings, if we bring ourselves over here to the Cal Fire map, we can see where these large wildfires that sparked up yesterday morning and afternoon have been spreading. And over the course of a about 36-hour period, the Palisades fire has grown to almost 16,000 acres of land that has already been burned. And it has been quickly spreading through areas, and over 75% of Palisades has been told to be burned, and it is slowly spreading towards the Santa Monica area. And the Ian fire that also sparked up yesterday evening has grown to roughly 11,000 acres and has been spreading up the hillside, down the hillside, and we can see we have the main downtown area of Los Angeles here. So these fires have been severely close to heavily populated areas, and with red flag conditions all the way through Friday, and the fact that firefighters have been having a hard time battling these blazes, and with the high winds, a lot of aircraft have been grounded lately, and they've been having a rough time. And we've also had the Hearst fire that sparked up earlier that is up to 700 acres, and all these fires are 0% contained right now, meaning they have had no containment, so they are just free to keep spreading right now. And that red flag warning lasts through Friday, meaning fire conditions will be very favorable all the way through Friday. And if you can see these little fire spots here. This is where we've had a random fire spark up due to the embers being spread. And then these bigger flames are where the fires have reached over 10 acres of land cover. We've even had some fires all the way down here near San Diego from these embers that have been blown or just from other fires starting. So dangerous fire conditions will spread all the way through Friday, so make sure you are aware of what you are doing, especially if you're burning anything combustible, and make sure you're replying to mandatory evacuation codes, as there's a lot of areas that are under mandatory evacuation, and if you do have a mandatory evacuation issue for your area, you should immediately leave, as your life may depend on it. And as we move on from these fire impacts, we can see here that as we come into the future, we have the possibility for a winter storm in the Texas region all the way up into the east coast here, as we can see it spread across, bringing the possibility for heavy snow even in the DFW region, and the possibility for freezing rain right in between that belt of rain and snow, and then heavy snow on that top side. And the most likely heavy snow will probably be right around here, spreading into Tennessee and all the way up into southern points of Illinois here. So basically the heaviest amount of snow will be more near that rain band down there. And we could see snow spread all the way up into Canada from the system, and it could be snowing in Tennessee. So this will be a pretty big system here, and that low pressure sits all the way down near the Gulf there. So this will be a very impactful storm that will bring the possibility for higher totals. And if we change it over here to our total snowfall, wait for it to load, bring it over here to our total snowfall, we can see that the storm brings a good 1 to 2 inches all the way up here in Canada, and brings a large pocket of heavy snow all in areas shaded in the pinkish colors here. So you kind of pick out your location. You can see here in Tennessee, you get a nice 8 inches. All the way here in northern Texas, 8 inches. So, I mean, overall, this is bound to change as we are still plenty of days out. But I just want to give you an idea that we could have the possibility for an impactful system going into this week and bring the possibility for that higher chance of heavy snow for the southern areas here, and then some lighter snow spreading up into these more midwestern states up here. And if we're bringing it over here to the height anomaly, we can get an idea of where our cold and warm air masses are going to sit. So we can see down here in the Mexico region, this is our low pressure system that's going to bring that impactful snowstorm for those areas I showed earlier. And we can see it swing across and then really spread out across the East Coast here, bringing below average temperatures for a lot of areas in the Midwest and East. And right behind it, yet another system comes down and builds, bringing just some more January-like temperatures for much of the U.S. before getting out of there. And we could see the possibility for some warmer air build there in the plains for a few days right before getting wiped out before a possible pretty heavy cold system there. So overall, we're likely to stay cold for most of the U.S. here, with some days where we could see some warmer temperatures way out in the forecast, but right now we're not for sure if that's going to happen, as that's 200 hours out. But over the next couple days or so, most of the U.S. will likely stay below average in temperatures, but there will be a few spots where you may see about normal temperatures for this time of year. And the last thing I really wanted to show you here was our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. So this is the January 14th through 18th time frame. We can see that a lot of the U.S. will be near normal, especially areas here in the plains and along the western coast. But areas in the east here, especially more of the southern eastern coast states here, and Florida will likely be below average in temperatures for this time of year. As I was showing you that trough that's kind of going to dig in, and then it'll kind of sit over here. So that's the 14th through the 18th time frame. So we could be looking at lower possible temperatures for that. And then our 8 to 14 day temperature outlook kind of shows the same thing. We could have a low pressure system sit over the southern states here, but it kind of shows almost the entirety of the U.S. Will likely be leaning below average here. So that's what I was showing there, where most of the U.S. between that January 16th through 22nd time frame will likely stay near or maybe even below average temperatures for a majority of the U.S. going into that time frame. And so overall, over the next 2 weeks here, we could be looking at more colder weather likely, with the possibility for some more possible systems that'll sweep through. We have that Californian wildfire threat that will go on for the next day or two, as those fire weather conditions are going to continue to be primed to fuel starting fires and already ongoing fires. So make sure, if you have any evacuations, make sure you heed those warnings and be ready for a possible impactful weather system bringing snow to areas like Texas and all the way up to the East Coast. Thank you for watching my weather forecast. I hope to see you in the next.